Hi, and welcome back to Essential ChiroCare's continuation of back care. We're going to start off where we left off on the last film with some downward facing dog just to kind of warm up the back, some cat-cow. So we're going to briefly run through that first and then move into some more upper body or shoulder stretches and just a little tiny bit downward, low back, some down dog, some spinal twists. So let's get started. Coming onto our hands and knees, finding our position just like we did before. Wrists right underneath the shoulders, knees right underneath the hips, belly button pulled nice and tight. Let's move through 5 breaths of cat-cow. As we inhale, push the belly down, lift the head, look forward. And exhale, tuck the chin into the chest. Spine presses up towards the ceiling, look at your belly button. Inhale, lift up, let the back sway. Exhale and round. 3 more breaths. Inhale, keeping the arms nice and straight, slight bend in the elbows. As we round, really push through the shoulders up towards the ceiling, tuck the tailbone. Last time, inhale and exhale. Returning to a neutral spine, starting to warm up the body a little bit more. Let's tuck the toes into the mat and gently lift the hips, press back into the shoulders for a down dog. We can walk the dog by dropping one heel at a time into the mat. Nice and slow, letting our body move as we see comfortable. And drop both heels down. Now remember, if you have tight hamstrings, your knees might be slightly bent, your heels might be off the ground. We're going to drop back to the knees and shift back into child's pose. Holding for a few seconds, coming back into tabletop, tucking the toes, downward facing dog. Good, I want you to take and turn your tailbone under this time. A little round of the back. And then flatten the spine, turn the tailbone up to the ceiling. So if we had a tail, just like a dog, we're tucking it underneath and through the legs as we tilt the hips forward. And we're turning it up to the ceiling, shooting that tail straight up into the air. 2 more times, tuck the tailbone. And back up. This is moving into the low back or the lumbar region. Last time, really working into those hips. And back up. Dropping the knees to the ground, shifting back into child's pose for a couple breaths. Moving back into tabletop. Let's move into some spinal twists. Spinal twists are excellent for tightening through the torso, learning how to support the low back, as well as massaging our internal organs, making ourselves a little more regular. So there is a lot of movement that comes in through the low back as we twist. So we're going to move into what's called thread the needle. So I'm going to move towards you first. Take your right palm and turn it up towards your belly button. We're going to slide the right hand through, releasing the right shoulder and the head onto the mat. Now you can take and turn your elbow up towards the ceiling. This is a beginner's posture. Hand is pressing into the mat. Intermediate, you can extend the arm up to the ceiling. Or advanced, you can take the hand back behind you and catch the hip. Hold for a few breaths. Reach with that right hand towards the wall in front of you and open that left shoulder up towards the ceiling. When you're ready, release the left hand back down. Belly button pulls into the spine as you return back to center and realign the vertebrae. Let's take it over to the right side. So we're going to turn the left palm up and slide it through the right side of the body, releasing the head, neck, and shoulder onto the mat. Again, first position, elbows up. Second, arm extends. And third, hand comes behind the back and catches the hip. This is called a bind. Good, a little bit of a spinal twist through the low back, opening through the shoulders, releasing the hand back to the mat, pressing into the palm, and back to tabletop. Tucking the toes into the mat, and downward facing dog. Good. Let's return to the knees and come into a seated posture. So working a little more into the shoulders through the neck, coming into our half easy pose or half lotus, whatever you feel comfortable with. Let's go ahead and rest the hands onto the knees. Shoulders are in our back pockets. From here, all we're going to do is just drop the chin to the chest and pretend like from that bony part in the back of your neck, somebody is pulling you up with a string. So your vertebrae is elongated, belly button's in nice and tight, and the movement is coming from the neck. We're going to turn the chin up to the ceiling, look straight up, and back down. Good. 2 more times. Extending up and back down. Good. Bringing the head back to center. We're going to take and drop our right ear to our right shoulder. We want to create space in the left side through the shoulder, the ear, and the neck. You can intensify it by taking the opposite hand and pressing it down towards the ground. You should feel a really intense stretch all the way down into that shoulder joint. And coming back to center, place the hand back onto the knee. Drop the left ear to the left shoulder. And now press that right hand into the ground. And coming back to center. I'm going to take it back over to the right side one more time. So you should feel the stretch down the center of the side of the neck down into the shoulder. We're going to move it towards the back. So what I want you to do is slowly drop your chin down towards that right corner. You're going to feel the movement of the muscles from down here more towards the back. And lift back to center. Let's take it over to the left side. Same thing, nice and straight. Once you've gotten to your range of motion, let's slowly drop the chin forward. Feeling the sensations move into the back of the neck. And lifting back to center. All right, now we're going to go ahead and move into a little bit more of an oblique stretch or down into the sides. So I want you to bring your left hand down to the mat, and we're going to take and bend the left elbow. If you can get the elbow all the way to the ground, that's great. If you can't, modification is holding it right here. We're going to take the right arm and extend it up into the air, straight up to the ceiling. So I want you to turn and look up to your right thumb. If you want to intensify, you can drop the elbow down. You can actually take the hand up over the head, really working into this oblique area. Good. Pressing into the opposite hand, lifting back to center, and moving into the other side. So starting where you feel comfortable and intensifying as you go. If you feel that this is too much, you can always come back to where you were before. Pressing back into the hand and coming into center. Hands onto the knees. Shoulders roll back. I want you to close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. Bringing your hands to your heart. Until we meet again, namaste.